I've never thought of myself as like a very accomplished guitar player, but I've always played in my own way, and it's served me emotionally, I think, as a way of being a person. I guess I grew up with my dad. He played all the time, but he never practiced, and I think he didn't think of himself as the best guitar player. And so I guess when I was growing up, the focus wasn't on like shredding. Like I should have probably practiced more, but then it kind of became that was the thing, that I just had an ability to play in my own certain way, and the more that I kind of lent into that, the more I discovered who I was as a musician, I think. So it's weird, it's one of those instances of not practicing actually helping. When I was a kid, my father shared a guitar technician with Eric Clapton and with Pete Townsend and Angus Young. So there was always boxes of Ernie Balls, and we had, flight cases because of touring that were in the studio. And I used to love the action on the drawers, so I'd always be going through stuff, and there would just be these boxes of fluorescent strings. I was lucky I had Ernie Ball accidental sponsorship from when I was a kid. The Music Man guitar was like one of the things that I was like learning on. Then just having Eric Clapton's Strat with the yellow 10s on it. And then I realized later on that they made other ones, because I only ever saw the 10s because, my dad was pretty straight when it came to like strings. He just had strings. Then you can start mixing and matching, and now you can put anything on anywhere. I guess the older I got, the more bizarre different kinds of string setups that Ernie Ball started releasing. I love the purples. Power Slinkies, that's the one. I don't really go below 11. A lot of the guitars in my house were set up for slide as well, so I grew up playing on a heavier setup and then wouldn't necessarily know that was set up for slide. But they sounded great even if you weren't playing slide, because I'm not the best slide player either. Music's like therapy, and I think that if I didn't have music, I'd probably have gone mad by now and definitely wouldn't be alive. Sometimes I go a really long time without playing, and then suddenly you'll just one day pick up a guitar and it all just comes out at once. I like getting to the point in a song where you've done all your singing, the song's written, you're on stage, everything's rehearsed, and you're not trying to catch up with your thoughts, what's coming next, or who's doing this bit, or, did I get that right? And you're just actually playing. which is a very small percentage of the time for me. And quite a lot of the time when that happens, you find yourself that you're actually not even touching the ground, which is a strange thing. Most of the time I look at a moment where I'm like, wow, that was the moment. I'm like, oh, my feet aren't on the ground. So yeah, it's usually like the last 3 seconds of a song when everything's gone well and you just finally look up to see everyone. That's always a good moment. It was after listening to a lot of Graham Coxon, I realized that like a lot of people really care about their guitar sound, almost to a point of where it's like one of those, it becomes a thing. I just think that more often than not, people care too much about making a guitar sound. On my new record, I don't think I have even used an amp. Which, you know, people can get really funny about. I just think however you can get a sound, even if it's just by putting the guitar on a table, if it sounds good, then fair play, you know, play on. I think it's more just like storytelling, whether in the lyrics or whether it's in your guitar playing. Like you've got to start, a middle, and an end, and you've got to get from there to there, you know. And that's the arc of whatever the piece of music is. I see it more like that now because I've spent so much time composing. But it's got to be fully realized. You're only as good as your story, really. It doesn't matter how hard you can shred if you get to the point where it's not about anything. So I think storytelling is probably the most important thing. You know, if you've got a good story, people are interested, and then anything else is a bonus.